Hello, welcome to some escapist Haskell. So the plan for today is to do a bit of tidy up on some code I've been writing so far, and specifically I want to start with logging. It might take the whole episode actually. There's quite a lot I want to do with it, but we'll just see what happens. There's some other stuff I want to fix along the way as well. So just jumping to the code. I say the code. This is me running the server, excitingly, and then I can go to the web page and it loads and I log a message saying listing accounts, and the level of this is info. And if I have a quick look at the API, it's because it's not that one, it's one of these listing accounts. So I say logger info listing accounts, and logger is this module, I guess, but it's also an effect. So it's an effect that gets passed in to the API here, and it exposes things like info and apparently logster as well. And these, let me see when I run it. So what we got here, we say print out log, and this thing, this is, which one is this? Logging the string, sorry, it's just printing it out. Otherwise, we are creating a log from a list of pairs of keys and values. So when it says, let's go back to the log for a second. When it said level info message listing accounts, it's built up from these pairs of values. And all I do here is I apparently print out opening and closing braces, and then I join things together and quote the strings as we go along. So it's a little bit like a kind of JSON-esque conversion, not great. And it assumes everything's a string and it quotes all the things and so on. It's also very lacking in information, right? It doesn't tell me when it was logged. It doesn't tell me anything about which application logged it. Basically, if this was in production, it would not be super useful. It just tells me the info and some message. So I want to try and make this more useful and log things which are non-strings potentially as well. But I kind of want to build on top of this idea of a logger consisting of a set of keys and values, or maybe fields. And I'm going to keep this JSON logging idea. I don't know why I need Logstra. I don't know if it's actually called anywhere. I'll kind of check in a second. But that's just printing out a non-JSON version of the message, I guess, without levels and stuff like that. I also want to be able to log at different levels. So info is fine, maybe debug and error as well, maybe warning. Yeah, I'll replace this with proper JSON encoding, and I'll put the time in. I think that might be quite a useful thing to do. Okay, so maybe putting the time in, I can start with that. Time should be easy, right? So you say current time is get current time, I think it is. Oh, I need to say do at this point. Okay, get current time comes from date.time. But I also want to format it actually. So just put over here and we look for get current time. Someone's fixed Haskell recently, it's great. It's not nice and responsive and crisp. I want to format the time, which is not there. It's probably not where I want it to be. Let's go to contents. That was time clock. Date time format is probably what I wanted. And there's a thing that says format time, and it will turn it into something useful. But actually, sorry, just thinking about it, maybe I don't want to do that because what I really want to do is, instead of just taking text and quoting it, I want to take something which is JSONable and use ASIN to convert it into the correct representation, correct JSON representation of that field. So what I'd really want to do is say something like current time and current time. Something like that. But it's not text, so I need to find some way of converting this. Okay, so I guess maybe first things first, I'm going to pull in ASIN, and I'm going to use that to do the encoding. So this isn't really going to be a map of text to text. Maybe text is fine for the field name, but the field value just needs to be something which is convertible to JSON. So maybe let's have a quick look at what that might be. So there's a type class for this, which is something to JSON. So as long as it's got to JSON instance, I think we're okay. I think that should be okay. See, what we really want is to turn something to value. But I think we're okay. We've got it to JSON instance, we should be able to get the value out of it. So what I really want to do here, I think, is say A, but A needs to be something that implements to JSON. Okay, and now this thing that generates the field, in fact, the whole thing can be rewritten just to use JSON's encoding. So it'll be something like encode, I guess. But then I want to encode, I want to build one of these directly, in a sense. Maybe not even in a sense, it's just an object that's got these things. So we got object, so I'll say JSON object. And I'll import that. An object takes an object and a key and parse array. Is that what I wanted? This object, sorry, I read the wrong thing, takes a list of pairs. Okay, and a pair is something that's got a key and a value. So what I need to do is convert this into a list of pairs. And to construct a key, I would want to say something. How do we go from any value to a key? What even is a key, actually? Has it got a type? It's text under the hood. Okay, so a key should be kind of easy. So I'm just going to write to pairs of elms, sorry. I get rid of all this stuff because I need to do my own coding now. So to pairs, actually, I could just map this over the contents of elms. Call this to pair. So to pair takes a pair of values. So in this case, it's a text and an A. We need to know something about A. And it's going to return to me a JSON.pair that right? Doesn't export pair. Go back a second. This is in ASIN types. So I'm also going to import types as, oops, it's the wrong thing. Types qualify as JSON. Probably that now. Okay, so we should be able to import it as a JSON pair. Then we can say to pair of some k and some v is equal to is pair. Oops, this is a normal data type, right, with a constructor. No, it's just a type alias. Okay, cool. So here I can say key of k and v. Now we've got a problem, so this is going to be json.key. And it actually wants JSON path element. I might have the wrong pair there. JSON.key. There are multiple definitions of this. Can match actual type JSON key with JSON path element. What is this JSON key? Have I got multiple JSON keys? Let me say types qualified as JSON. I'm just going to qualify as JT. A nice short typing that I won't understand next time I read the code. Just in case there are multiple definitions of key, but no, it's exactly the same error. Okay, so this key. So we've got a new type key, got a constructor key. Oh, they do actually have helpers though, so I can just call from text. Okay, so I can say from text of that. So JSON from text, okay. Nope. JT.from text. Nope. Where are we? We are in. Oh, this is in its own thing called key. Okay. So this is the wrong key as well. So here I want to pull in this type, and from text I want to qualify as being key.from text. Okay, and now we have a problem with the value. So this probably won't be in a package called JSON. Let's find out. So value is in ASIN types. Look at the source, data value, in types internal. So reference Haskell value, and there should be some way of getting the value from something which is JSONable, I think. So I want to go from to Google. So I want to go from some A. I think I have to JSON of A. I want to go from A to some kind of value, which is calling to JSON on it. You can say to JSON of that. So we'll import value, and this is going to be JSON up to JSON of B. Is that right? Okay, so now this returns a list of, it should take it from a list of texts and A's to a list of keys and values. So now we're saying could match expect type text with actual value, because I've said this is text. Okay, so we have an object and then we can just encode it, in theory. Okay, this does not return text. It returns a byte string. And it's the one that comes from, I think, lazy. There we go. Okay, so is there an encode text actually? Because I don't really want it to be a byte string, but if it has to be, it has to be. I could either convert it to text, or I could just live with the fact that it's a byte string and print that out somehow. It looks like there's nothing to encode it directly to text, so instead of to.put_string, I'm going to say bio.put_string, which is going to be data byte string lazy chore, I guess. Okay. And that is make log. Should now go from text to A. It couldn't match. Expect to type text with actual type this thing. So make log shouldn't be expecting this second argument to be text. It just needs to be anything which is a value, like a JSON value. And there should be a JSON instance of UTC time. Okay, so an expression of current time, blah, in the first argument of make log. But what's the type of make log? It's not telling me the type of make log. This says it takes a pair of texts to A's, where A is anything that's to JSONable, and returns a byte string. So why is that not okay? Now I'm a bit confused. So very confused now. So say we come into info.s, get the current time, print out whatever this is. Why does this matter? Why don't we put like 0? I'm going to put 0 as an int. Just give it a warning second. It can't match expression text with actual type int. Why does it think that this needs to be a pair of texts? I told it it's a pair of other things. In desperation, I'm going to restart the LSP. Just in case for some reason it's broken and has forgotten I changed its type. I'll give it a second to restart. Nope, I've got the same error. Okay. A little bit confused by that. Type of current time is UTC time. Makes sense. And I really don't understand why this is not letting me call makelog with something which is not text. So makelog of list of pairs, let's say level and info. Does this just work? Apparently not. Does that work? No. Not let me evaluate this. This doesn't get exported, so I can't run it. Now it gets exported. That line can go. That's one error. That's an unrelated error. Okay, so new window, cabal REPL. I can't import logger because it's got an error in it, so I can't say mclog. Okay, back to here. Well, that's interesting. Can't deduce to JSON A1 arising from that. Oh, because I didn't tell you what this was. Sorry, this is anything that's to JSONable. Okay, now I put current. Can I now put current time in here? I still cannot. But I can't just put an empty string in there. Okay. So cabal REPL. Put logger. And then can I say mclog? Yes. So it takes list of pairs and so I can say A and B. Okay, the warnings are just about overloaded strings, but it does correctly print out the JSON here. So if I say A and 0 as an int, that works. So I could say current time is get current time. Import, what was the class for this? Not the class, the module. Where's data time? Get current time. Data.time. Interesting, it's data, but it actually runs an effect. But anyway, so current time is that. And then I can say make log of A and current time. And that works okay. A little bit long, but it's fine. Okay, so mclog can be called with that. Can mclog be called? Oh, hang on a second. Right, so I can't create this different types. So I can't have an array of pairs where the types of the pairs differ. So I cannot. That's what it's complaining here. It's nothing to do with mclog. It's just trying to create this array, this list of pairs. It's failing because the type. It reads the first one, says it's text to text. Another thing, it's the current time. It's looking for text to text, but this type does not match. What can I do for this? Can I have something which is of type text to A, where A is something that's to JSONable? So we have something like field and it's a pair of text A, where we're going to say for any to JSON. Can I say for all A? Apparently yes. So for any edits to JSONable, it can be a text and that A, okay, and then can I, oh, not quite, okay. What I really want to do is have, sorry, I paused there. I was going to create something which allows me to create a mono or even just a semi-group instance for this. So basically I could create a field, or rather a list of fields, and then I could join together. Well, it's just a list, so we should be all right, I guess. So if we have can I do something like this? So I can say, if I have an existing list of fields and the field, then we get back a new list of fields. Right, let me just swap them around. I can do this using that. But I cannot do that. Okay. Perhaps I intend to use implicative types. Perhaps I did, perhaps I didn't. I don't know. Go on then, add it, see what happens. Okay, so then I can say something like mclog of add field, and then it takes a pair, so it's something like level and info to an empty list. I can get rid of the bracket, that's fine. Couldn't match field with text A0. So this is not being interpreted as a field. Okay, it doesn't work. Oh, this is harder than I expected. Oops. Let me keep that definition, but then could I say this is a list of fields? And it cannot work it out. Because this S apparently is, well, it's text. But it cannot work out what this is that would satisfy being in this list. Okay. Not okay. What I really want to do is, what I'm thinking is I'd like to build up a logger where it's a list of, it's like a base logger using an application where I give it a list of fields. So I'd say the app name is whatever, pay me in this case. And that gets passed into functions, and then they can say, okay, add this other thing. So you might say, oh, the API endpoint is accounts. And then they would call log, and they would maybe say info, and they would give it a message, and all those fields get packed together, and then they get converted into JSON and printed out. That's what I'd like. but I can't do it because these types are different. The another thing is I've solved this previously and I can't remember how I did it. I don't even remember it being this hard. So maybe for inspiration, how does pair work? Type pair. You just literally key in a value, and the key is a new type which starts with key and it contains text, and a value is some data type. Okay, so they haven't used any type classes to encode the value. They've literally used value here. So I need to say something to JSON, or yeah, to JSON. That, and JSON dot to JSON of that. It's not super nice. It doesn't feel quite right, but maybe it's going to be okay. You can just maintain this list of things that are JSON values. Apparently this is already a value. Must be a from string or a this string instance of that. Okay. At the very least though, this should stick the time into my log messages. Okay, so in this area, if I go back to the browser and I reload this page, and I get current time shoved into there, I guess that's good. And I can put non-text values into there. Okay, so, whoops, that's the first part I want to look at, but what I really want to do is be able to create a base logger and then keep building stuff on top of that. So is logger an effect in itself? Logging is, but is the logger an effect? Sorry, question there. Am I using the Vim plugin? I'm not using Vim plugin because I'm weird. I'm using a plugin called Dance, which is Cocoon style. Cocoon is a text editor which has got kind of like Vim style key bindings, but the commands are reversed, so it's target first and then action. So in Vim, if I wanted to delete this word, this one lift.io, I would say DW for delete word. In Cocoon, I say W first, which selects it, and then I'd say D. And the advantage of that for me is that I can see what's highlighted. So it's like being in constant visual mode in Vim, and then I can see what's going to be affected, and then I can type my command into there. Which I find better, not necessarily just for deleting a single word, that's not particularly exciting, but it's much better for multiple cursor style stuff, where you don't have to go into special visual mode to do this kind of thing. You just get multiple cursors and you can manipulate bunches of stuff at the same time. Okay, little diversion on Cocoon style key bindings. I would recommend them as being a better approach, except that it makes you weird, and then everyone else's machine uses Vim, and as soon as you step away from your editor, you don't have the key bindings, and everything gets confusing. Okay, where was I? Right. Is the logger itself an effect, or is the logger something that's passed in as part of the sort of the context of the application, and then logging itself as an effect? So info might stay as an effect. I was going to look and see if this is used anywhere. I don't think it is. I need to see if this is used anywhere. It's not. Okay, I'm going to delete logster because it'll clarify things a little bit. This needs to go, and this needs to go. So maybe the effect that needs to go. For some reason that needs to go as well. I don't know why. I can stop exploring that. Okay, I want to do the effect, expose things like info, debug, whatever. But they don't take text anymore. They take maybe something like logger, which I can't give it the same name. Log thing, I'll think about a name for a second, and the message, and then they run the effect. So this log thing would then be the place where I can build up this set of fields and pass it around. And then when you go to log it, you'd have here inside info, you have a log thing. And you could take that log thing and you could add a couple more fields into it, like the level and the current time and the message, and then you could print it out. But you don't necessarily have to print it out, you don't have to JSONify it, whatever, that's just an implementation of this effect. Something like that. So log thing. Okay, let's go to Cabal for a second. So this is the library. We have logger here. I'm actually going to move that to be effects.logger. And I'm going to have a separate logger. So the effect is what we use to print stuff out. And this is a definition of what a logger is. That's what I ended up with. Okay, so this one, I will rename it as, I can rename it as log, but that's not what I want to do. Is there a move? Yeah, this is what I wanted. So it's going to be source effects log. Okay, and then don't need that anymore. Oops, it's going to be called log. It's probably going to be log. This is going to be run log. This I will just rename it to be log. Okay, this I'll rename to run log. I think everything else can stay the same for now. Where I'm using this, everything's going to be very broken in a minute. Let me just go and create something called logger. I told Cabal it exists. It should be enough. Don't know what command is deprecated, I'll look at that later. Okay, so now if I go back to, let's go through the errors, right? Restart LSP in wherever this is in the test, just to make it happy. Yeah. Okay, nothing looks happy at the minute. This one I should be able to fix. So this is going to be not logger.logger, but log.log. Right, can I just import that? Like that. Seems a bit nicer. couldn't load multiple logs, so it's going to be effects.log. Where did that go? Up here. Module effects does not export log. And then I go back to here. Oh, set module names. Yeah, I want to do that. My bad. Okay, that fixed that one. And now we get a bunch of these. So this is going to be, I think this should be logged all the time. Okay, let me try something a bit different. Let me not try something different. There we go. Like that. So that should now, hopefully, get rid of some of the errors. Log.info. So where are we now? We're in the API. We got this, and then we can say import x.log qualified as log. Okay, so it's log.run log. Okay, now that's broken for some reason I don't understand, and that's in the error I got left. Why is that broken? So let's say compile test. Will it compile and run? Could just be the LSP is wrong. Nope. Well, yes and no. The test failed because I haven't talked to the test database. But it compiles and runs. So this is wrong. It says it fails to run it, and then I don't know why. Source effects log does not match module. I fixed that. So if I restart LSP, the LSP that's running for the test does not notice that I fixed something in the library. So hopefully, restart this and we're good. I think we're good. Okay, where are we now? So logger. This is a thing that I want to pass into my API. So when I start the API, I give it a connection. Ooh, okay. For now, I might give it a connection and a logger. The reason I'm hesitating is it shouldn't, I don't want this list of arguments to grow, right? I want to give it some kind of app context, which has got, or app dependencies or app components, whatever, but it's going to have things like the database connection. I think I called it app environment before as well. It'll have the connection, it'll have the logger, all these kinds of things, and it will use them to build the correct effect. The other thing is here, where I say run this, I'm passing in a connection once, but in here, no, not here, sorry, in log, I'm not passing in any arguments at all. And actually what I think I want to do is say run log will take a logger. So this will be the base logger. And then it will use that somehow later on. So go back to logger. We will export logger and data logger just for now, just to make it compile. And I can import that. So run log, given logger. Oh no, that's not quite right. So if we go back to here, it's got to come before F. I want to call interpret. There you go. Okay, so now when I call run log, probably from here, it needs to logger, which means that this needs to logger, or some kind of context, but maybe I'll do context next time. I can import this. It's going to be a lot of plumbing here, so logger here, app connection logger. I need to take it here as an argument. Do I need to take this? I just wonder if I can do this. Yeah, I cannot. Here we must take a logger. Okay, I think it's fed all the way through now. Except not really, because if we go back to main, it should be broken. Does it know it's broken? Broken here, good. Okay, so we need to get a logger. What am I doing? Right, and go. I can say let logger equals logger.logger, and maybe here we'll give it some app name. Something like that. Then we can pass it here. Okay, so logger. We'll also export this. I'm not going to call it logger, I'm going to call it app logger. And here we can say app logger, take some text, and from the logger. So app logger of some name is going to be, right, this needs to be more exciting. So what I want this to be, I think I want this to be a list of JSON pairs. And this is going to be a logger constructed with a pair where the key is app name and the value is this name that's passed in. And you need to have sort of data. Yeah, go on then. Don't do that. Don't know what to make the change for me. So new type. So logger is just a list of pairs at the minute. And this name should be from text. Nope, not there. Oh no, it's not from text. It's to JSON. Okay. Should be an easier way of doing that, right? I should just say JSON.text. Or the JSON.string. Just not string. There's no point in the whole conversion when I know it's already a string. Okay. So back to main, and then we have it was logger.app logger. Okay, so all this gets fed through now. So we come to API and we call, we have access to the logger, and then we want to actually serve the thing. And this no longer has the logger. can't really get it out of my effect. I could get it out of my effect. I don't see why not. I've created the effect with some base logger, so why not return it? So have something like get logger. Log m logger. Down here, if we say get, that's going to be, is it just pure logger? I think so. And then we need to write a function to call that, to dispatch it. What time is it? Very quickly, can I just quickly pull in the template? So this is effectful th. I should say make effect, and then the name of my effect. So make effect log in this case. So I'm going to get rid of that, I think. So, oops. To make that work, I want to say language template Haskell. Okay. For that, imports. To find what you not use get. That's cool. So I need to export get as well. Okay, so now I should be able to say log.get. And that might be named as actually be get logger. So here I should be able to say get logger. I can say log.get logger. And then I should be able to call info when I change info to take the logger. Why do I need to get the logger actually? Because the reason I want to get the logger, and then the reason I want to pass it back into info, I think is so that I can take it and add fields to it and then pass that around. I don't really have a use case though, so let's not do that yet. Okay. So we have a logger. And what we want to do is we want to say something like, we're going to get our current time. We want to say, take a logger. What's inside a logger again? It's a list of pairs. Let's export this. No, let me change this to JSON. So first of all, I can say with field. With field, and that's going to take, this is where I can say for all a, I don't write that there, we're going to say to JSON a, given some text and an a, given a logger and text and an a, returning a logger. So with field, what we got the logger, we got the key, and we got the value. And this is, it doesn't matter where we push it onto the string, I don't think. So we can generate our new thing and put it at the front of L. Let's import that. So here we can have so the way we generate the key, I've forgotten how we did that before. My memory is so short. from text, key.from text. Key.from text of the key, and then it's to JSON, so JSON.to-JSON of the V. Okay, so key, we can import V. Okay. Give much type logger with this list of things. Okay, so this is going to be logger L. I need a dollar in there. Okay, and then we can export with filled. But we can also just export. Do we need to export to JSON? So we want to, given a logger, we probably want to turn it to JSON because that's what gets printed out. Or yeah, let's listen to JSON because then I can call it encode directly on it. So we can say instance to JSON of logger where JSON is equal to JSON of logger L equal to JSON.object L. Okay, so now I have a logger and it's JSONable. Okay, so back in here, you have a logger. Now what are we going to do with it? We get the current time. Okay, so with fields, field is fine, but I'm going to call this multiple times. It's going to get quite annoying. I think it will be. So it's going to be something like logger dot with field. It's on the import. Okay, it takes the logger that was passed in, and it takes something like level, and it can take info. Okay, that. Doesn't know what this is yet. Okay. And then this is going to be logger at Wizfield. I don't think this is right. I'm just going to write it out to see if it works, and I can come back and find out how to write it in a nicer way. So this will now take L1. And it's going to be message and S, and L prime is logger with field L prime. Need more L's and more primes. L prime current time and the current time that I had above. Okay. In. I don't need in because I'm going to do. Then I can just print out. I think we can print out the JSON.encode of L prime. Okay, I need to find a nicer way of chaining these together or specifying multiple fields. I need to get rid of all this stuff I'm not using anymore. But yeah, it's in theory it should still log stuff, but now it should have an app name as well. That's where I was trying to end up. So here, if I just build it actually, so I can clear the screen before I run it. Okay, and then I'll run this. Could maybe log it to start just to save me doing this. But anyway, load the page. There we go. We have now fed in the app name at the top level, and then we call info, and it prints out the message in here, and the log level, and the current time. An R to do that, to make it add 2 fields to the log message. Also, I've now made the log message unreadable, which is always a good aim. One of the things I could look at doing is swapping out the logger, so I could have maybe some options which say, like, do you want JSON logging, do you want non-JSON logging? But anyway, the JSON logging is probably what I'll want eventually, because the logs will get ingested somewhere and then indexed. But yeah, there we go. This is horrible. This repeated with field, and this lets increasing primes. So what I really want is with fields, but I'm out of time today. Just want to check the API. So it looks like, I think this is fine, right? So it takes logging as an effect. You call info on it. You give it some text, and it does the rest of the stuff for you. Hopefully in future I can say with fields and put more stuff onto there. Okay, I've had to filter the loggers through quite a lot, so I'd like to replace that with some contexty thing. But essentially it's okay, and it does more logging, and I'm reasonably happy with it. I was going to go back to here to the effect, and I did get rid of the other effect. Okay, cool. Good. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at this point because it's pleasingly on time. I'm not here next week, so I'll be back in 2 weeks' time, and I will either I might pick up and look at a little bit more logging, see if I can make this interface nicer so that we can log with multiple fields. The other thing I want to look at is errors. Some of the errors are not quite right. So I might do that, or I might do some new feature, I don't know. I'll see how I feel in a couple of weeks. But anyway, thanks for watching along, and hopefully see you in a couple of weeks for a little bit more Haskell. Goodbye.